Hi, everybody. This is Marc Graue from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. I'll give you 20 doubloons for the rum. Some orcs from the Warcraft games.
Kill all humans for the Horde. Loktar Ogar.
Mr. Zircon from Ratchet and Clank.
Mr. Zircon no like smelly little Ratchet and Clank.
And, of course, the infamous Hotel Mario. Dear pesky plumbers, the Koopalings and I are currently watching In Conversation with Amber the Fangirl, ATF.
Hi guys, Amber here. Welcome back to another episode of In Conversation with ATF. Today, we are going back in time. The year is 2006. Spaghetti jokes, spadina, Hotel Mario, everything is ruling the internet. YouTube has just started up and everyone's literally just talking about this one CDI game called Hotel Mario. Well, the guy I'm talking to does the voice of Mario, Luigi and Bowser in Hotel Mario and has worked on several different media franchises including Skylanders, Ratchet and Clank, World of Warcraft, and he's also an audio engineer and has met many famous people. My guest has seen it all. My guest is Marc Graue. Welcome!
Yeah, I sounded so important.
Yeah, well, you are. You're literally just the voice of one of the greatest internet memes of all time that has existed for about 15 years.
Yes, it's been tapped as one of the most wonderful games in history.
Yeah, I've never played it. I don't have a CDI. I don't think we got them over here.
Yeah, it was funny. That was Philip's first foray into doing a CDI kind of that format. So yeah, it was kind of an interesting thing. It was
I had a Philips TV as a kid. Oh wow, I'm having a look at it. The compact disc Wow, I've heard of it, but like I've never seen one. I think it was. It looks like it could have been a US exclusive. Oh, a compact. Oh, I see. I recognise the logo, and
they used to deliver it by dinosaur and had a pull cord on the side like a lawnmower. No, okay.
Yeah.
But fun stuff, It's actually voiceover in general is fun. We get to sit in a room and act stupid, and they pay us. So how bad can it be?
Yeah. Actually, I just want to start off this interview by literally asking the question everyone wants to know: how did you get the roles in Hotel Mario?
Like everyone else in this business does, I auditioned for it. Went in, and while I was there, and it's very interesting. People will ask a lot, like, when do you get the script for this? This is not like movie or TV where you get the scripts weeks, months in advance and go through and memorize your lines and do all of that sort of stuff. It's very much on the fly. It's like, you walk into a room at a studio, here's your script, this is what, and by the way, while you're here, can you do this? And could you do this? I can't tell you how many sessions that have gone long, and you go, and you're thinking, okay, we're right at the end, done. Okay, great, we just have 3 more characters. It's like, okay. So this was that kind of situation where they went, while you're here, could you do this? Could you do this too? It was like, sure, they're the boss. They're the ones that are signing the check. So it's like, whatever you like. If you like, I'll sweep up the floor and get you some coffee too. No.
I was wondering, because, well, to be fair, I have seen I've seen all the cutscenes for Hotel Mario. Not ashamed at all. I don't think Bowser actually spoke, he just laughed. Just that little bit at the beginning where he just crept over the side.
There was a couple of lines in there.
Oh, was
There's
there?
a couple.
I've seen the most famous lines.
Mostly, mostly it was the laughing. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Can you still do any of the voices from the game?
Pretty much. I have to listen to a reference because it's been. You're talking about originally that came out in. Oh my goodness!
I think it was 1996.
Something. So, I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. So.
Am I correct? Are my suspicions correct? 1994.
Yeah, it's even worse.
26 years. Oh my gosh, that's actually quite unbelievable. To be fair.
Well, it's really neat that it found a whole new life. I think that was wonderful, that it kind of and has become this fun kind of thing and all the different cutscenes and all. But it's very interesting to me. Video games kind of take on a life of their own, and gamers are amazing people that are really into this. And I mean, when you go to the cons and that kind of thing, it's astounding how many people really enjoy a character you play because you're in a booth going, oh, okay, we really aren't privy to the final product. So I've had people come up and go, oh, that part where you're in the cave and you're doing both voices, and it's like, oh, in the cave, and I have no idea what's going on because I never go, but yeah, very gracious. I mean, thankfully, those people are out there and love what you do. And then, of course, there's some that aren't so happy with what you do. It just depends on the voice stuff. I had done oh goodness, about, I don't know, maybe it was a Trump parody for Bill Maher on HBO. Mm-hmm. And in a span of about 40 minutes, I got 20,000 death threats. I mean, people were just, and it was like, it's a parody, it's funny. And people were just, it's not, it's like, well, okay, so you have no sense of humor.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. I mean, no one deserves death threats at all.
It's just part of it, but it's very funny in general. I think there's a lot of pent up energy and a lot of that's pointed in the wrong direction at this point because of COVID. People are kind of, and so they just strike out at everybody and it's like, just, whoa, slow down. It's not that. And I think a lot of people, keyboard warriors, they have a tendency to say a lot of things they wouldn't necessarily say in person, but that's fine. Knock yourself out,
Yeah. I've just loaded up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What?
Oh, okay.
You just loaded it.
I was just going to say, I have loaded up the video of the cutscenes.
Oh.
So, of course, if I played it, would you be able to just do... Well, it's not like... I'm not requesting you to do them. I was literally wondering, can you still do them 26 years later? That's...
Probably come close, sure.
The music literally just gives me flashbacks.
Invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi? I hope she meant...
So this one is doing anything that's people like this over for a picnic, Luigi, eh? Where he's got that kind of...
Dear pesky plumbers, the Koopalings and I have taken over the Mushroom Kingdom. The princess
I just want to embrace this.
Yeah, so basically that's all, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically doing a thing that's like this. Dear pesky plumbers, we got the thing where we're talking like this. And that's basically, yeah, that's kind of the... but I know it wasn't a great impression, but it was close.
It feels surreal. It honestly feels surreal. Like, I saw your work and stuff like that, like you'd like seen all these voice actors, and then I found out, oh yeah, you were the guy who did Mario and Luigi. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun one.
Well, it just proves you have no taste. God bless you. Okay.
Another big question is, what was your reaction when the Hotel Mario cutscenes became a meme, essentially?
Well, that was many years later. I think when it first came out, I think for years it was voted one of the top 10 worst games ever, and it was like, well, there's something to be proud of. My career is, there it went. So it was just, it's another job. I have a lot of people ask, well, did you know at the time that you were recording it? It was like, no, because you really don't know how, like when I did Mr. Zircon originally for the first Ratchet and Clank, you have no idea it's going to do. Same thing with that. Just key in Mr. Zen. There'll be 8 million sayings and people they've done rap songs and, it's crazy. So it's they just take, and when you're doing the project, you hope it's going to go well. You're more inclined to be concerned about what the director thinks, making sure they're happy, going, that's perfect, great, let's move on. So this was honestly, I think the memes really started surfacing off that probably 15 years later, something like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wow, it's taken on a whole new life. That's great. So yeah, I was very surprised, very, very pleased. I think it's great. It's taken on a life of its own.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was 3, well, I know 3-year-olds today, they're watching YouTube just glued to these iPads, watching kids unbox surprise eggs videos. When I was 3, I too went on YouTube, but it was nothing like it is today. It was mainly used for like sharing home videos with people who didn't live nearby. 3-year-old me sat at a big family computer with a big box with like a big tower. Is that what they're called? I'm probably saying it wrong.
The very big screen and
yeah, or the tower thing with the where the actual computers kept inside of the monitors on top. And
yeah, but then the monitor was usually, like...
Yeah, and I remember just watching Hotel Mario cutscenes. well, obviously those, and also edits as well. People would do Hotel Mario in Super Mario 64, or Mario Kart Wii, Hotel Mario, or Spaghetti, Bowser Laugh, Dear Pesky Plumbers, anything to do with that. Just voice edits, impressions, anything to do with that. That was literally 2007 for me.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to see that take on a whole life like that is great.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely.
So the fact that it will live in infamy.
Yeah. It literally has a Know Your Meme page. Like, I'm looking at it right now. It literally is just wow. And it's actually kind of cool because I know there was a Zelda one developed for the Philips CDI with all the cutscenes on YouTube, like with Morshu and stuff like that. I have been trying to get hold of the voice actor for Morshu. I can't remember what his name is, but it seems that a lot of voice actors for the Philips CDI games have just dropped off the face of this earth. I can't find the voice actor for Morshu anywhere. Oh, I know what you mean, but the guy who voiced Morshu, I can't find anything out about him. It says that the Zelda thing was his only role, but I can't find anything else. It doesn't. His name's Jeffrey Nelson. I'm not sure if you ever knew him or not.
Jeffrey Nelson.
I literally, if you search up Jeffrey Nelson, all it comes up with is Zelda for the Philips CDI. Nothing else, nothing to do with what he's doing today or where he is now. It's literally just, he did that and then just poof, gone.
Huh. That's an interesting, I don't know. I don't know has that garnered the same kind of attention that the Mario game got?
Definitely. It definitely has, honestly. It's on the same level.
No, which is very cool. Who knows why certain things click and other things, think it's going to be this. But I think it's the same situation as a movie. There's movies where you go, oh my God, this is going to be incredible. And you see it and go, really? That was it. Well, that was something special. And then other movies where your expectations aren't that high and you see it and go, wow, that was really fun. That was great.
Yeah.
I think in this case, just, in general, it's fun. I mean, you can't take yourself too overwhelmingly seriously, especially with a game like that. I know, Charles Martinet obviously has been the voice of Mario forever, and so, and obviously does an astounding job. I mean, that's why he's still doing it,
Oh, yeah.
So, it just was one of those, interesting things. I guess you should say right time, right place, or maybe wrong time, wrong place, depending on how you look at it. But it was great. I was flattered to be a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. And you've literally just become internet history.
Well, I don't know.
You're up there. You're like one of the most hailed people on the planet.
Yes, there's people with torches at the door now. Kill the monster. He's the one that did it.
I have met Charles Martinet. I met him. He came to the UK in 2019, and that also reminds me. Walker Boone, who was the voice of Mario in the new Super Mario World cartoon. The one that was who was in it? I know Tara Strong was in it. She was one of the Koopas. Well, she was called Tara Charandoff. That was before she got married. So Walker passed away back in January, and it was only just been announced last week. And everyone was like,
"Oh, really?
Oh, so that yeah, very unfortunate." So everyone was like, "Oh, well, that means Charles Martinet is the only surviving Mario voice actor." I'm like, "Are you seriously gonna forget that Marc Graue existed? And are you going to forget that Peter Cullen exists?" Because Peter Cullen voiced Mario in the Saturday Supercade series. Yeah, there was a Mario cartoon, and he was the first ever voice for Mario, which is...
Peter's a wonderful guy, yeah.
I was going to say, have you spoken about Mario with him? Does he know that you voiced Mario? Did you know that he voiced Mario?
No, we've honestly never really had that conversation. I mean, usually we're talking about Transformer stuff or just voice over the business in general, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We never actually sat down. Next time I see him, we probably will sit down and mention just that.
Wow. When did you last see them, Peter and Frank?
It's in and out. I would say honestly, it's been a while, probably 6 years, 7 years.
Wow. I was going to say, wow.
It really depends, because even the studio, it just depends on projects and what's going on and who's in and who's doing what and scheduling and all that. And a lot of the time, I have a full studio at home as well. So a lot of the time, especially with COVID, it's easier for me to do stuff at home rather than go to the studio to do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of friends with Frank Welker. We're getting to the friend stage, you know. I
Frank's
met. I was gonna ask
guy,
what's he like. I always ask this with
the
everyone.
sweetest guy ever. He's just he's just a genuinely sweet, nice man, and so uber talented. It's incredible. Yeah, he's like one of a kind. He's in a league of his own. Absolutely.
I definitely agree. I met him in the UK just before the pandemic hit. He did his first UK con appearance,
Right.
and I gave him some art. He signed my artwork. Um, I then met him again virtually over GalaxyCon. GalaxyCon, they did these like virtual events. They did this Transformers one where they did an online panel Q&A. You could do one-to-one chats with them. I've met Frank twice. He did one last December and he just did one in April, and I purchased chats for both months, and he was just so nice. And I'm seeing
Yeah,
him again in October in Edinburgh, in Scotland. So I'm very excited.
Edinburgh is one of my favorite cities in the world. I love it. It's like walking onto a Harry Potter set.
My brother just came
You know,
back
it's
from there.
geez, and then you go to get a bottle of water, and it's established 500 AD. It's like, really? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's a neat. I actually did a tour. I've got a buddy who took me to the Scottish Whiskey Society.
Oh.
Well, being the lightweight American, it's a big room and they have bottles with no labels. And so you're supposed to, well, this has a slight taste of peat. I think this probably came from and he's over there, Mark, here, have another, take it, not like that. Hey, no, you got to have one more. And it's like, so I've, 5 shots and I'm like, so what's the matter with you, pussy? Come on, here, have another, it's like, it didn't take much. So I was kind of just,
Well, I'm gonna admit now, I haven't drank much alcohol. I've only had little sips of vodka. That's it. But I'm saving it all till my 18th. I turn 18 in less than a year, so that night
there you go.
I'm gonna go crazy. So excited though, honestly.
It's not really all it's cracked up to be, especially the next morning.
Oh yeah, the hangover part. Yeah, I've never been drunk. People are like, "Oh yeah, it's not nice," but you want to experience it because, like, obviously I've never done it before, and then people are like, "Oh, don't do it." I'm like, I'm still gonna do it when I'm the right age.
That is, if you're drinking, try and find alcohol that does not contain a lot of sugar, because sugar is what gives you the hangover. That will absolutely make you feel terrible.
I'll keep that in mind, definitely. I thought it was like due to the alcohol levels in it or something like that.
Nope, it's the sugar. The sugar. A lot of alcohol has a lot of sugar content, and that's what kind of knocks you to your knees, I guess. I'm not a drinker. I haven't drank in good Lord age. It's the same thing as pot. I haven't smoked pot. I just not, back in the age of everybody, of course, cocaine, all of that shit when everybody was going through that.
Yeah.
But in fact, I haven't smoked pot at, oh God, I don't know, 30, 35 years. We went to Amsterdam. It's like, well, when you're in Amsterdam, of course you will. I will. So you walk in, it looks like a deli. I'll have the green sea Jesus kick my ass, and it's like, so they roll this thing and girlfriend is trying to figure out money. So I'm just sitting here smoking and going, wow. And she goes, well, I think this is €1. And I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like a quarter. Now I'm thinking like pot, like college. So I'm just puffing away here, and then all of a sudden, and there's a table, I don't know, yeah, literally 3 feet away. And she's like, well, let's just sit over here. And it was like, no. Just, it's really the ugly American. So that's why I haven't smoked much since either. It's like it just doesn't.
Oh wow! So are you still audio engineering these days, as well as voice?
No, I have a big staff. That I will occasionally slip in and do. I oversee stuff, and we'll go in and go, nope, this is what we're going to be. Do this, that, as far as producing things. But the actual hands-on engineering, occasionally. But not very often anymore. No, I just that's the whole reason for having a staff. And the plan with the studio was to get to a point to get that built up to pull back. Originally it was behind this Yugoslavian landlord. It was a guest house in East Hollywood. It's just an awful area. And pulled that off, moved it into a little commercial building on Hollywood Boulevard, and doubled in size, tripled in size, and moved out to Burbank. And now it's good too. Well, there's five big studios plus an ADR stage plus, so it's a big building.
Yeah. What movie have you recorded? Any animated cartoons or movies in your studio?
We've done a ton of that. We've done a bunch of, we've done Ron Howard films. We've done, yeah, I mean, a lot. It's there's a lot of animation, a lot of video game stuff. We do a ton of crappy localization stuff, which is what keeps that's all the bad like Netflix dubbing stuff where they want to take an Italian series and make it Americanized. So we do a lot of that, but we do a lot of feature film dubbing, a lot of cartoons. Yeah, all of
Wow.
that. It's just kind of because we're set the like Studio 4 is the main. That's the big room you could put feasibly 20 people in the control room and I mean still have it's very big and it's got a big screen so you can play all of that kind of stuff as well. So yeah,
That
it's been
sounds
quite
really
a
cool.
in fact the studio behind me that's Studio A at the studio.
I love the lighting in that room. It just gives you a nice vibrant feeling, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And it's important, when somebody walks in and go, ooh, oh, this is great, so it's just
Mm.
and feel with it. But
I
yeah,
have.
it's just kind of
Sorry, go ahead.
what
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, no, it's just you just kind of keep up to and just keep things good. It's like the Winchester Mystery House. It's like, oh, let's just keep building this, and we'll do this, and it's like at some point it has to stop, but but not yet. You know,
Hmm. Who is the most famous person you've worked with as an audio engineer?
that depends on what level. I mean, we've done stuff with Barack Obama, that going all the way back to when O.J. Simpson did his thing. He actually called from the jail, and we recorded over the phone the preface to his book. That in his own words, which was kind of odd. But I mean, Jack Nicholson has been in, and it just kind of depends on what you're. I think two of the coolest projects we did were the DVD when they were doing the commentary for the original Godzilla and for the 1950s film The Blob, and it was just really cool to hear the behind the scenes stuff, like on the Blob, where he's talking about we didn't have a budget at all. So he goes on that where the thing's growing and getting big. He goes, I'm under the table with a straw going, it's just they were talking about the sound of the gate in front of the studio and stuff for Godzilla and mixing that with it. It was very interesting. It was little tidbits of history like that's kind of fun. But I mean we've been very Charlton Heston. I became a friend and felt very comfortable. I don't know why, but he felt very comfortable at the studio. So he would come over, and he would drive his Corvette and come over in his robe and slippers and sit in the back in the kitchen and read his newspaper and have a cup of coffee. And it was like people would come out and go, "Is that?" And it's like, yeah. It's like, what do you get out of here, Moses? I mean, you can't. It's just okay, you just kind of let him go, and so it's been a really interesting ride. I mean, with the people that have come through there has been fantastic, and starting out from what it did, yeah, it's been and same thing voice wise. I mean, starting that out, I mean, because I came from auditioning at Hanna-Barbera way back, but Dawes Butler was my godfather, which is
Really?
yeah, I grew up at Channel 5. My dad used to do news there. And at that time, Dawes Butler and Stan Freberg were doing a live puppet show called Time for Hey Beanie
Time for
Boy.
Beanie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Which Bill Scott wrote for. The Bill Scott famous for being Bullwinkle in Rocky and Bullwinkle.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And William Conrad was a dear buddy too. William was the meanwhile Rocket J Squirrel, the big old big Bill Conrad. I used to he'd go on a day and I'd send him a big basket of water. It's not funny, you son of a bitch. I'm starving.
I just did a documentary on Bill Scott.
Really?
Yeah, it's been in the works since last year. I've interviewed so many people for it. I interviewed Frank, I interviewed Tara, I interviewed Corey Burton, I interviewed a lot of people
Yeah.
for it, and it just had its premiere earlier this month in front of about over 20 animation historians and voice actors. So,
Oh, great! Good
very
for
fun.
you.
Thank
That's
you.
what.
I'm still tweaking it a bit. I'm working with an audio engineer to try and get it, nice and fresh and to get rid of all like the little static from my mic recordings and stuff like that. So I'm not sure by the time this video's out if the documentary will be out, but yeah, I'll just say
How long is it?
2 hours.
Oh, well, that's great, though. Good for you. That's very
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you. People have asked me to chop it down. I'm like, I'm not chopping it down. That's literally erasing Bill's history. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Because projects like that, it's one of those, either you're into that or you're not into that. And if you are, then you'll hang on every second and want to see every minute of it. And if you're not, it doesn't matter whether it's 30 minutes or 2 hours. You kind of go, oh, whatever. But most people would find that very intriguing and interesting. Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you know Bill Scott? Did you know June Foray as well? Or did you just
Oh,
know
Judy,
William?
sure. Yeah. No, I knew June very well. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you knew
Yeah.
June? Oh.
All 4'11" of her. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. What about Bill?
Not well. I mean, I knew of him. We'd crossed paths a couple of, but no, I didn't really know him. But
Did you meet him
uh,
ever?
oh yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was never like hanging out kind of. It was just like,
Yeah, yeah.
and quite honestly, when I did, I wasn't really aware of who it was. So it was just like, oh, okay. Because especially at KTLA when I was growing up, you were a kid, so I was around, you know, Dinah Shore and Bob Hope and all that. You grew up on it. It was like, oh, hi, it was, Gene Autry. Then, it was like Uncle Gene. I mean, it was, so you didn't really, it's like my kids growing up with a studio. I mean, it doesn't, E.G., used to hide behind the console and do Tommy Pickles' voice. And, that my kids would go, oh, when they were growing up. I mean, so if you grow up around it, it's kind of like all of their friends would go, God, can we go to the studio? And say, I don't want to go to the studio. It's boring.
Oh.
So, you know.
So you have children then?
Well, they're not children now. No, I
Well,
have
no. Your offspring.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yes, I do. I've got two daughters. I've got Cezanne, who is my oldest daughter, who lives in Philadelphia, and Chelsea, who lives down in La Jolla, and then Dayton, who is my son. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Do they grow up with your work?
No. Well, oh, yeah. I mean, they'll, like at a family function. I did a series for years on National Geographic called Alaska State Troopers,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody had said, "Well, that must be cool to hear your dad or something." And my middle daughter went, "No, every time I hear that voice, I think I'm in trouble." I know my work here is done, but it's yeah. I mean, they're aware of it and interested in all that, and but it's not that none of them have really wanted to go into that. So, and I've never pushed that. It's always been, follow your interests. Follow, my oldest daughter is the East Coast manager for Mac Makeup.
Wow.
And my
That is
middle
great.
daughter is a real high-end property management down in La Jolla, California. So they're all doing very well. Absolutely.
Wow. What about your son?
He's doing well, but Dayton has cerebral palsy. And
Oh.
no. He's a phenomenal kid when he was first born.
Oh no, I wasn't saying oh as in oh that's sad. I mean oh as in because I grew up with a family. I have a younger brother who's severely autistic, so
Yeah,
I
so
know a
yeah,
lot about growing up with
sure.
disabilities.
So that's and so but honestly, I remember the doctors, when he was first born, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, he's an 11. He'll never speak. He'll never do this, never do that, never do that. Well, he tours with Jacqueline Smith from Charlie's Angels and speaks in front of 1,000, 2,000 people for Special Olympics, and I mean, so,
Wow.
and I
Good on him. Good on him.
funniest was
Going for it.
they go, well, you
Doing
realize that he'll
Completing his dreams. So
but they'll go,
what is it? Is it fighting for your dreams, not aiming for your dreams? What is it? I can't. What's the saying?
they kept telling me, they go, well, you realize that he'll never understand the concept of money. And it's like, well, he has two sisters that don't either. So
Oh yeah, that's it. He's following his dreams.
there you
That's
go.
the saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know why it made me forget for a second. Very
But
odd.
yeah, so he's, it's great. I mean, it's just, and I think that's just, there's in life in general, there's always, you can either take the path that's a little bit darker, or you can take the path that's a little bit lighter. And if that's the hand that's dealt, you have to sit and go, okay, well, then let's do this. And then you just work around that and do whatever you have to do.
Yeah,
And you
of
can
course.
sit there and mope, and some people don't. Some people get very morose and, oh God, and they get, said, well, I might as well just sit here with my big gray butt, and it's like, well, that's all right. You can do that, or you can go, well, let's go this way, So, and I've just always been much more positive about things. It's like, negativity you can spend an awful lot of time and energy on, and it really doesn't accomplish a lot. So,
Yeah.
I
I
go-
agree.
yeah, life's too short. What the heck, just enjoy the ride, hang on to the rails. We never know where it's going.
Yeah, definitely. So, Ratchet and Clank, you've been involved with it. You've been involved with it since the first installment. Is that correct? And you're in the most recent installment as well. So how has that been? You know, how's that been a part of your life? Like being in like nearly every single Ratchet and Clank game.
It's great. It's a wonderful game. I mean, the people that are in it are amazing, as far as talent wise. And it's, again, it's always a wonderful treat. The interesting thing is you don't really realize the impact a character has, because when you do it, I mean, you've got a script, you're in a booth, you've got a director, writer, some people out in the control room, and then you do it, and then you're gone. Game comes out. When you go to a con, you realize how people are like, oh my god, and there's posters and shirts and they want to sign this and sign, which is wonderful. I mean, it's I'm flattered that a character like that would live on, and there's again tons of all the different scenes and stuff that are online with, Mr. Zircon doesn't like smelly little aliens, all of that kind of stuff, so it's just kind of fun. And it's anytime you get to be a part of a franchise and it takes off, it's a treat. It becomes very, very special.
Yeah, but it does. I mean, you were right about the stellar cast. I mean, you've got James Arnold Taylor, David Kay, just such good cast members. Were you a part of the movie Ratchet and Clank?
Nope, they did not put Zircon in. Nope.
Oh, that's a shame.
Bastards, how dare they?
They did the whole celebrity typecasting thing, like Bella Thorne and John Goodman were top billing, even though they didn't even voice the main characters. The main characters, yes, James and David should have the top billing. They are the main characters, but then again, the celebrities are more ranked high.
But that happened. It's very interesting. That's happened a lot with Dateline came in a few years ago and did a whole thing in the studio on celebrity voiceover. And how, there's certain things like Ellen DeGeneres doing Dory, it was phenomenal. The casting was perfect.
Pixar always do that, but yes, most of the time their casting is great.
But occasionally, you miss the boat when it's, Johnny Depp playing a salamander or Brad Pitt as a pirate or so. It's kind of like, okay, and it's and very. I think what happens with roles like that is you're thinking more about, oh, that's so and so. So you're not drawn into the role. You're just thinking about who that is doing it.
I've just remembered. I spoke with your good friend Andrew Frankel last night. I think he mentioned you saying he'd been doing audio engineering or something with you. You worked with him.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Great, that's great.
Yeah, great. I told him I'd say hi for him. So yeah. And he just wanted to say hi, and he's a voiceover actor now, as he's in the new HBO Max series Jellystone. He voices Fancy from Top Cat and Johnny Quest, so
which is great. Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's a pretty small community. It depends on the level that you want to get to. I do a lot of coaching with people now because at this point, career-wise, for me, it's a lot more exciting to see somebody else's success, and have them go, oh, I signed with an agent. Oh, I got my first animated feature. Oh, I just did a big video game. It's like, that's awesome. I love that. I mean, to me, that's exciting to me. An agent going, hey, you just booked. It's like, okay. I mean, it's just, because it's kind of, I think anything, if you've been doing it, like I was telling, it's 46, 47 years, you kind of lose, it's like, oh, I mean, it's, you've worked in every single studio in town, including mine. And so it's like, it's not that I don't love it and it's still wonderful, but it doesn't quite have that. You're not as hungry as you were when you were younger, obviously. So it's not that excitement. Although we're all, the running gag is, no, I'm not working. It's Christmas Eve. How much? Well, how long would it take? It's like, sadly, we're all in that boat. And I think I've finally gotten past that. And it's like, no, let's just not do that, So, but it's fun. And that the coaching portion of that, it's fun to see other people's successes. I think that's wonderful. It's kind of
definitely. Back to celebrity casting. I said this to Andrew last night. I usually say, well, when it comes to liking a character, I usually like them because of how they sound, or what their personality is like. Let's say you've got Tara Strong voicing a princess character in a film, and I'm like, oh, I love that voice. It just goes with her personality. But when you get someone like a famous person, like, I don't know, Zendaya, just to voice the character, and she just uses her normal voice, you're like, that's not a princess, that's just Zendaya in a dress. You associate the character more with the celebrity than the voice.
The biggest reason behind that is because you'll notice then on Entertainment Tonight or whatever they can sit there with a poster of the show behind them and go, well, I really wanted to do something that was family friendly, or I was so happy to be able, in that way it's garnering press.
Yeah.
Or so, but there's been many instances where VO talent, because that's what we do. I mean, it's like, it's not unusual, changing up stuff. This I think I was just telling you, I had this back surgeon, was just back day before yesterday, is the first long session that I had, was 2.5 hours, but it was 14 characters. And VO and people, 14 characters. It's like, well, as VO talent, you have the ability to do that, to change up, to do this, to change to this, to that, to that, to that, to that. And as long as the that's great, that's perfect. Could you do this? Sure. Can you do, well, this one's kind of, okay, great. Can you make him more Cockney? Sure. Can you do this? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not a huge stretch. And people have to understand that want to get in this business is that it's our job to adapt to whatever it is they want. It's not the other way around. Well, I wouldn't do that type of character. It's like, well, then you should probably get a job in construction. Because it's our job to fit their mold rather than they're not going to fit what we want. It's like, nope, it's us fitting what they want.
Yeah, it has happened not just like recently, but in the past as well, because when the first Transformers film came out in 1986, obviously they introduced this whole new line of Transformers to like kind of just, kind of update it, make way for new ones. That's why they killed off most of them. And they had loads of celebrities voicing them, like Judd Nelson, Eric Idle, Robert Stack, Lionel Sander. But then you had some of them, the new characters, who were voiced by Neil Ross and Frank Welker, and then you had Susan Blue. It was one of her first film roles, animated.
And Susan, actually, we're very interested. Sue Blue is an amazing director, but one of her very, very first roles that people don't know is she was the first person, I believe it was Friday the 13th, in the original thing out at the lake and stuff. She was like the first girl to get killed.
Yeah.
So, way back when.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they did it with My Little Pony, the movie as well. I mean, they got Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman to do it. And also with G.I. Joe, the movie, they got Sergeant Slaughter to be in it. So,
and I mean, sometimes that works, but the majority of the time, I mean, VO people are used to acting with their voice.
yeah.
So it's, and I've dealt with people, even at the studio, animation wise, et cetera, or even like putting together a demo, who don't read well at all. I mean, it's like they're really struggling with the word because they're so used to getting a script, going over it for months and having it down, and the subtleties, and that when they go to do something, they're a phenomenal actor, but acting them, cold read, hear it, because voiceover, many times you will read for something, you'll audition, you'll be cast for it, but that casting can change drastically, and a lot of the time, and while you're here, here's this and this and this. And so and you have that ability to just switch up and go, okay, great. And do that on the fly. And that happens a lot. So that's something to work on, is that changing up stuff. And it doesn't need, that you need every single dialect in the world, but the stuff that you do, nail it down really well. And if that's what they want, that's great. If they want, the piratey voice, give them the piratey voice. But there's different degrees in that even. Can you pull it back? Can you make him a little more like this? Is he Cockney, or is he more, RP? Is he a little more royal, or is he a little more working? Is he Northern, England? Is he Irish? Is he Scottish? Is he whatever that may be, and just slipping into that mode.
Yeah, I mean, it's back to the celebrity casting. Sorry if I keep going off topic, but it's happened again, twice recently. First of all, very lately, it was with the new Space Jam film. Obviously, Kath Soucie is the voice of Lola Bunny. Obviously, people were saying, oh yeah, Kath's coming back as Lola Bunny. And this was before any official announcement was made, so I'm presuming fans just guessed that she was coming back. And then it was announced that Zendaya would be voicing Lola Bunny. And when fans saw the clip of her voice acting, we were like, no, that's not, She's just using her normal voice. She didn't give, And she was the only person, Kath was the only person who got replaced. Everyone else was just voice actors.
And they do that a lot. And there's, sometimes it can be contractually where, a person wants more money. There's a great story with Babe, the movie, where originally it was Christine Kamina doing the first Babe movie.
Yeah.
And phenomenal job. Well, she wanted more money for the second one, and rightfully so. Not, we're not talking, it was like, $50,000 or something, which, by voiceover standards is a night, but it's not, I want $20 million for a feature film. And obviously the first movie made bazillions. And so they went to E.G. Daily, and E.G. is very classy and basically said, if you're using me for negotiations, no, I'm not going to do it. She goes, you figure out whatever you're doing at that point. If you ask me to do it, great. And she talked to Christine and said, hey, this is what's going on. I mean, she's a very above board, and you need to do that in this business. You need to be honest and above board and because if you don't, it'll catch up to you very quickly, and people will know, oh, this person is like they stepped in and took this role and that kind of thing. And it's everybody kind of knows, everybody. I mean, again, I've been doing this forever in LA, so all of those people, Rob Paulson and Maurice LaMarche and Corey Burton, all those. I mean, I've been doing all those guys forever.
Love Corey.
Oh yeah, he's an amazingly talented guy. Yeah, he's just incredible.
Yeah. I like to tell you 2 stories. I know this is all about me. I'm so sorry, but I'll make it as quick as I can. The first story is still about the celebrity typecasting. So sorry. They did it with the new Scooby-Doo film that was released last year, Scoob. They recast all the voice actors with celebrities like Gina Rodriguez. Gina Rodriguez. How do you say it? Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Yeah. Will Forte. Zac Efron was the voice of Fred, but they kept one person. They kept Frank Welker as Scooby-Doo.
Well, but
he survived the typecasting.
But again, there's nobody that could ever even come close to Frank. I mean, he's Frank is Frank, and so that was probably very smart on their part to do that.
Yeah.
And it's the same, you have to realize that a lot of roles, Frank either was very instrumental in creating it to begin with, or had done the role for so long that it's just embedded. He knows all the subtleties, and just goes right in and does it without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But
he just doesn't think, he just doesn't.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy, absolutely.
I agree. And the other thing I was going to say was about Corey Burton. I interviewed him for my Bill documentary. People because he's a very private person. People were saying to me, oh, you won't get him, he's too private. I was like, it's worth a try though, because he did work with Bill a lot. So I contacted his agent and sent it off, thought nothing of it. I was like, probably just go in the unread section. I then got an email. Corey is interested in doing an interview.
That's great.
And so, he has Asperger's, just like me, Asperger's syndrome. And that's why he wanted to do the interview, because he basically had the same condition that I had. And, I still have it. And I feel blessed, honestly.
But if you feel, if like Paul Frees was the voice of Disney back in the, 50s and 60s, Corey basically stepped in and took over that, and has been the voice of Disney on so many different Disney characters. It's incredible. He's an amazing, talented guy. He's a very sweet guy. And
yeah. He can voice Ludwig von Drake, Captain Hook, Gruffy Gummy, and they were all played by 3 separate people originally. Paul Frees was Ludwig, Hans Connery, Captain Hook, and Gruffy Gummy, Bill Scott.
His voice at Haunted Mansion. He's incredible.
He's like 3 in 1.
Oh yeah, he's an amazing guy, absolutely.
Yeah. So we set up this interview. I was thinking, it's probably only going to be for half an hour. Just talking about Bill. We ended up talking for 6 hours until 4 a.m. my time. I stayed up all night talking to him, and I loved every second.
That's a treat, absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't expect it at all, but I'm very glad it happened. Very fun. Very fun. Have you got anything in the pipeline at the moment?
Oh, always.
Is there anything you can talk about?
No, because everybody's gone NDA crazy, non-disclosure agreements, and so it's. I mean, even to the point of I did a large project, and the engineer had taken a picture, and they were using a mocap mic, which hangs down. You wear like a little crown, and it hangs down like so, right? Mm-hmm. And so. And I said, oh yeah, I just finished. And my agent called and said, oh my God, take that down immediately. And it was like, I didn't say anything. I didn't, you know, it was like, because they were concerned that they'll look at the mic, they'll know what it is, they'll know what studio what you're working in, and then they'll know what the project is. It was like, isn't that a bit of a stretch? Okay, so I kept that down, and so we went. So yeah, at this point, it's like, okay, it's fine, you know.
Yeah,
But I think it's a little unnerving. One of my favorite things, and it's usually the show of I love the. You know, just finished a huge, you know, huge project. It's da 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 da. Can't talk about it. Like, well, I know. Then don't say anything about it till you can.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me, engineering-wise, the engineer I'm working with to restore the soundtracks on my Bill documentary, he actually recorded. He was in the Zoom call recording all the lines for Space Jam 2. With LeBron James and Zendaya, Eric Bowser, Jeff Bergman, Bob Bergen. Yeah, wow.
Sure.
I feel honoured, honestly. So I'm working with the best, I guess. Anyways, enough about me. Let's get back to you.
Well, I don't know. That's great. Those are all great. Bobby, I mean Bergen. We've known each other. Oh my goodness, we have the same agent who used to be on the corner of Hollywood and Highland, where the Dolby Center is now, and that was like, oh Lord.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Don Pitts was Don was the quintessential legendary voiceover agent. I mean, he had everybody. I mean, from Orson Welles to Casey Kasem to Gary Owens to it was.
He had Bill and June as well.
Yeah. He sure did. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd like to ask you one final question.
Yes, ma'am.
On your website, it says, well, it doesn't say, you have a photo of you and Ron Perlman. What did you work with him on?
We worked on some Hellboy stuff, but we also worked on a couple of graphic novels that Robert Rodriguez had written, and we did that kind of stuff. And then we got Ron smoked cigars, so I had bought him a box of very nice cigars, and we started smoking this, and then I quit those afterwards because then it got too like we're more concerned about going out and smoking a cigar. But really a sweet guy, a talented guy. I love Ron. He's a good guy.
I'm very excited. I'm seeing him in Liverpool this November, and it's kind of cool because him and Peter Cullen are in the new Transformers film that's coming out next summer. So,
yeah.
So excited!
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's, you know, you've got a lot of people that are very, very, very sweet and nice and in this business, and you have people that kind of get full of themselves and start believing. It's like, oh, smell that, my God, that is me. But you'll find the majority of people, honestly, are very open and giving, and just it's a sweet community. It really is. And
I've only met one or two people who just
in that I've had so much. It's a variety of work because between the studio and doing that, and then voice work as well separately, it's just been it's a very different route than most people doing just voice acting. You know, I mean, it's because it's been that, and then a lot of time you're in the room with writers, producers, directors, and privy to what's going on this side of the glass as well, not just the other side. So it's kind of an interesting skew on stuff. But it's on the studio. Well, again, I started my first studio in 1978, 79.
Wow.
You know, and started out, you know, small, and then it got bigger, and then had a little storefront, and then that doubled in size, then tripled in size, and then out to Burbank, and I've been there now for forever. And it's great. It's been really quite a ride, you know. And at this point, I mean, like I said, I'm at that age where it's much more fun. I think the cool thing was like doing the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, having grandchildren is kind of the cool, you know, that kind of thing. But it's, you know, you reach a point where it's kind of, you know, you kind of been there, you done that, and don't get me, it's still wonderful, but it's so cool to see that excitement in somebody else's eyes. That's like, oh, you know, like, this is great. It's like, yeah, that's wonderful.
I didn't know you had grandchildren as well.
You know, well, yeah, two of them. Yes.
Oh, yeah, bless them. Have they grown up with your work?
Well, yeah, they're not that old yet. Yes, but sure.
Oh, that's cool.
So, they're still, and it's, you know, it's to a point. But again, family it's like my dad. I mean, my dad was the big hot shot at Channel 5. He started there in 1948. And so he was like, back when, so he was on the ground floor, was there forever, and was a real staple in LA. And I remember people asking for autographs and all that. And you never, you know, it was like, it's your dad. I mean, it's not like, oh, you know, I mean, still, if you got in trouble, he'd beat your ass with a belt. So it's not. It's not wait. What about that whole autograph thing? You know. So,
Yeah.
So I mean, you just never really, it's like if you grow up around that, it's just like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
it's
everyone knows each other. Small world.
just part of life. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I've been very, very fortunate, very blessed, still upright, thank heavens. So life is good, you know.
That's definitely a wonderful way to round off this interview, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I thank you for having me. This was an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Okay, so
It's
I'm gonna do.
wonderful, and I love having people. It's wonderful to see people like you who are genuinely interested in this because you're that spark that will keep things going oh, so and so was on this, and it's almost like almost a historian, which is wonderful because that's a wonderful thing to have.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Certainly.
Anyways, guys. Hey, Mark, where can we find you on social media?
Well, it's on Twitter and then Facebook and all that stuff. If you want, you can just go to www.lowercase Marc dash Graue, Graue. Yes, my parents didn't believe in consonants. It's marc-graue.com. There's a ton of info. The email out there goes directly to me, and if you have any questions, I'm pretty good about getting back to you.
Yeah,
And,
definitely. Mark got back to me instantly.
So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Mark, it's been so lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for
You too.
coming on my show.
Thank you
You're
for having me.
welcome. To you at home, thank you so much for watching this episode of In Conversation with ATF. Go visit Mark's website. I'll put the link to that in the description and also the link to his social medias. Go give him some love. He's literally the guy behind Hotel Mario. Actually, just a bonus question. Are you still in touch with the lady who voiced Peach?
I'm not. No. I mean, it's because it's one of those, everybody drifts apart and then you do a project and then, all of a sudden, then when you hook up again, it's like you haven't been apart at all. It's like an old friend.
Yeah.
But it's,
What's her name again? It is Jocelyn Benford.
yeah, no, I have not been.
We'll have to
But
do a Hotel Mario reunion.
What's interesting though is occasionally people will come into the studio. Oh, and it's like I didn't know they were booked to come in, so I missed them, and it's like doggone it, I'm sorry I missed you.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and if we can get past this stupid COVID thing, then knock on wood, then we can all get back to giving each other a hug and asking people how you are, and getting back to at least semi-normal life.
Yeah. We'll have to do a Hotel Mario Zoom reunion. Just get a hold of Jocelyn and just get you
there
on
you
and
go.
do a script read.
Perfect.
That would be fun, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So to you at home, thank you so much for watching this episode of In Conversation with ATF. And I said that already, but I like to do the outro twice because I'm like that.
She's very cute, but she has Tourette's. Okay, sorry.
Oh, Mark, you're too good for me. You're too good for me. Thank you so much for watching. So, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Mark over there. So yes.
Bye.
Bye, and cut!